Last year, Hawaii school made some headlines when they arrested a 10-year-old black girl for drawing. So now this drawing apparently offended another parent who called the police. So that was a big case then. CNN is now reporting an update that the ACLU has gotten involved and has sent a letter Monday to the Honolulu Police Department, the State Department of Education, and the State Attorney General's office, asking them to adopt policy changes, expunge all records of the arrest, and pay $500,000 in damages for harm and suffering caused by those agencies. So now, okay, let me give you the context. Because look, a lot of stories, understandably, went under the radar. So I didn't know this, that this had happened, understandably, because like I said, the news media is just constantly inundated with just horrible stories all around. But context here, back in January of 2020, a parent had called the Hanawai Elementary School in Honolulu to complain about a drawing made by this 10-year-old girl and demanded the staff call the cops. Okay, well, wait a minute now. So wait a minute. This mother sees a drawing and goes, well, I am offended. I'm offended by this. Not only am I going to call because understand, okay, if you want to call the school and be like, this is a really offensive drawing, this is terrible, maybe you should sit this person down, sit them both down, and have a discussion on, why these kids are having a problem. No, she just says, get the cops. Arrest her. Arrest her. Now, unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. When police arrived, the girl, who was only identified as NB, was handcuffed with excessive force and taken down to the police station. The girl's mother, Tamara Taylor, said that she was called to the school, but was not allowed to see her daughter or informed that the girl was handcuffed in front of a staff and her peers, placed into a squad car, and taken away. So now this is over a drawing. Okay, but what kind of drawing was this? I mean, how could something be so offensive drawn by a 10-year-old girl to warrant police overreaction? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but here's what Tamara Taylor says of the incident. Quote, I was stripped of my rights as a parent. My daughter was stripped of her right to protection and representation as a minor. There was no understanding of diversity, African-American culture, and the history of police involvement with African-American youth. My daughter and I are traumatized from these events, and I'm disheartened to know that this day will live with my daughter forever, Taylor said in a statement shared by the ACLU on her behalf. The Honolulu Police Department told CNN on Tuesday that it was reviewing the letter and will be working with the Corporation Counsel to address these allegations. Spokesman for the Hawaii DOE said the agency did not have a comment at this time. In the letter, the ACLU said the girl had allegedly participated in drawing an offensive sketch of a student in response to that student allegedly bullying her. So, okay. In the days after her arrest, the girl told her mother that she drew the picture, but that several other students were involved in coloring and writing on it. The girl said she did not want the drawing to be delivered, but one of the other students took it from her anyway and delivered it. Now, the copy of the drawing or further details about what it depicted were not disclosed in this, unfortunately, because I'm curious to see what offended someone so much. Because let's be honest, I've seen some things when I was at school. Had things when I was in school. We all have. It's kids being kids. But this girl, now 10-year-old, gets bullied, draws a mean picture gets shown, a parent gets super, super offended, and instead of trying to work this out as parents and as kids, she instead says, no, call the cops. Call the cops. I'm going to be a total Karen and get this young girl arrested. Arrested. She's 10. I believe that I have said and done far worse when I was younger and didn't get arrested. I got into fights, but you know what the difference is? Right here, I'm white. If it's not painfully obvious what the difference is. No, now the ACLU and a family attorney have described the actions by the school staff and people, and police in Hawaii as, quote, extreme and disproportionate. I would agree. And said they suggest the girl and her mother were singled out and discriminated against on account of their race. Before you say, no way, understand that there is a documented history of this stuff happening. In fact, a 2017 study conducted by the Georgetown Law Center on Poverty and Inequality found that black girls as young as 5 years old are viewed as needing less protection and nurturing than white girls. And that, of course, we do know often times that there are young black, both boys and girls, that are often mistaken to be older than what they actually are. And so, I mean, for example, Tamir Rice, he was 12. He was being reported as being much, much older than 12. Okay? But these are kids. They're all kids. And guess what? Kids are going to make mistakes. All right? Kids are going to fight. They're going to feud. They're going to do things that aren't very nice. I don't know if you notice this, but sometimes kids are assholes. And, you know, that's just the reality of it. Okay? And it's understand this is normal. It's normal. I mean, people learn, over time. That's part of life, learning. And obviously, understand, like, everybody knows what it's like to be stuffed in a place where you don't really want to be, surrounded by people you don't like. Now, for adults, it's called work. Okay? It's called the workplace. But, for kids, it's school. But see, adults have more of an ability to kind of work around that and to at least get the job done and more or less be respectful. Children are learning those skills. They don't have those skills yet. And they're going to make a lot of mistakes. And you're going to have to give them a little bit more of a wider latitude. You cannot expect children to act mature 100% of the time. All right? You've got to allow them to learn and to be themselves while offering them, of course, guiding principles. They're going to do irrational things. They're going to do, they're going to throw fits, and you've got to be there. Now, I think that, of course, there should be appropriate punishments that will teach them to do better, not just to focus on punishment. And so being arrested for ridiculous things, come on. It's terrible. And look, this isn't the first time you've seen police involvement in school turn badly, because it always turns badly. Earlier this year, a school resource officer in Florida body slammed a 16-year-old black girl before putting her in handcuffs. The girl's family said she suffered from memory loss and headaches after the incident. And in recent years, police in New Jersey had came under fire for handcuffing a 10-year-old during a traffic stop. Officers in North Carolina were accused of body slamming boys and girls, holding them in chokeholds. And officers in Orlando arrested 6-year-old girls for reportedly having a tantrum. I also remember doing a story where a police officer was detaining a child. I don't remember how old she was, like 8 years old. Where that officer was like, "Stop it, you're acting like a child." And she says, "I am a child." Yes. That's the problem. I mean, even like cops are so out of control in this country that they're body slamming children. I mean, think about that. And like they're so, they don't know how to deal with things like this, with regular people, that they're telling children, "Stop acting like children. You are like they are children. What are you going to do? You're going to arrest them and you're going to throw them in jail." That's exactly what's happening. And it's happening, obviously, more often to black children. In fact, during the 2017-2018 school year, over 229,470 students were referred to law enforcement agencies or arrested. Black students represent 15% of the student body, but nearly 29% of referrals to law enforcement and 31% of all students arrested at school or during a school-related activity. Overwhelmingly disproportionate. I don't think children need to be arrested for acting out in school. I think that's way excessive. That is, of course, unless they're an actual threat to another student or faculty members. And I mean by threat as in threat to their lives. Like if you have a, gun in school, you have weapons. All right, that seems fair. And if you're threatening somebody with that weapon, that's where you should refer to resource officers or law enforcement. Anything else, no, you can get somebody on the staff without weapons and without using physical violence to de-escalate the situation. That's the way it's supposed to be. But instead you have situations where a 10-year-old will draw an offensive picture and get, arrested for it. It's ridiculous. Now, one more thing that I want to ask, where are the free speech warriors? Where are all the people that are like, I can't believe people would get offended by everything? Okay, well, where are you? Are you criticizing this parent for being offended so much that they had to call the cops and be a super Karen? Where are you guys? Where are you? Where are you? Why are you not all over it? Why is every free speech warrior not out here defending this 10-year-old girl and demanding that this be set straight? Well, I know where they're at. Well, I not only know where they're at, but I know why they're not defending her. Because she's black. Of course. And while this is happening, these people are defending rich, white comedians against nonsense cancel culture. That's what they're doing. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.